But we do lock in and we go, okay, maybe a Luka or Victor Wembanyama or Cooper Flagg. But there are times when you get guys who are undrafted. You know, Fred VanVleet, he was one of the cornerstones of the Raptors when they won a title. Ben Wallace, undrafted, heart of the Pistons' 04 championship run. Hall of Famer. You know, you get these guys where they kind of slip through the cracks, but those guys are so instrumental. And it leads me to what's going on in Denver. Because yesterday, the Nuggets held a press conference. Josh Kroenke, his dad, Stan Kroenke, owns them. He owns a few other franchises. So you're doing sort of, I guess, exit interview. They're just hiring a couple of front office people. They fired Michael Malone at the end of the regular season. They took OKC to 7 games. When they lost OKC, Joker, and I'm paraphrasing, talked about, we need depth because they had depth when they won a title. And I said this was malpractice going into this last season. I said, you didn't do anything. I don't want Michael Porter Jr. He's not going to help me. I like Aaron Gordon a lot. Jamal Murray gets banged up. You better have some guys on the bench. And I'm listening to Josh Kroenke, one of the owners of the Nuggets, and he has this to say. Now, once again, this is unprovoked. I don't think anybody went to the press conference and going to ask him about the possibility of maybe trading the best player in the game.
I think that for us as an organization, going into that second apron is not necessarily something that we're scared of. I think that there are rules around it that we needed to be very careful of with our injury history. The wrong person gets injured and very quickly you're into a scenario where that I never want to have to contemplate, and that's trading number 15. You know, we're very conscious of that, pushing forward and, you know, providing the resources that we can when the moment arrives. But that second apron, is it a hard cap? I'm not 100% sure, but it's something that teams are obviously very aware of going forward.
Okay, he's part of ownership. He doesn't even know about the second apron. First of all, it appears as if he doesn't know what it is. Why would you bring up Joker in any scenario? Could you imagine if the Kansas City Chiefs ownership got in front of the media and said, you know, we're all about transparency. I mean, you know, I get a couple injuries here, we may have to trade number 15. The sports world would explode today if the Chiefs did that. Is this an accident by Josh Kroenke? I don't know how well-versed he is in getting in front of the media. I always love when it's always total transparency. But then if you ask certain questions, there's not going to be total transparency. So don't tell me you're all about transparency here. When's the last time you thought about trading Joker? Has Joker asked to be traded? When's the last time you received a call about Joker? Like, if we're doing total transparency, great, I'm all for it. But to me, and I've listened to it now, I think 4 or 5 times. I'm trying to be fair to the Nuggets with this, but then the more I think about this, I think this was purposeful. It felt like, hey, we'd hate to do this. We don't even want to think about this. But he wants to have depth. He's got to help us out here. You know, we need a little help too. It's got to be give and take. He even says, hey, we don't even know if he's going to accept our offer. Right there, that told me everything. We're not going to give you the max. Or we want to give you a 4-year deal instead of a 3-year deal. The 4-year deal gives us more flexibility. So now you put the onus on Joker. Hey, yeah, we signed, that stupid deal with Michael Porter Jr., and we don't know if Jamal Murray is going to be healthy enough to last a couple of years. But, hey, you want depth. You got to help us out a little bit here. I can't imagine another owner doing this. I just can't. That you would say, I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks ownership, they didn't go, I don't know, probably might have to trade him. They don't want to trade him. He might want to leave Milwaukee. I was just stunned. But it felt like there was more to this. Felt like there was an agenda here. Felt like there was a message that was going to be sent, and that is, we're going to try, but we're going to need help from Joker here as well. And I started to think about this. When you're looking at, this second apron, that I think we should start actually selling, say, second aprons, like DP shows second aprons on here, maybe with Traeger. So you look at the Celtics and what they're doing. They were $22 million above the second apron. But teams can only spend 2 years in a 5-year period above a certain line. And then future first-round picks start dropping to number 30 overall. So that's why the Celtics are having this sale right now. They used one second apron season this year. And they're not going to waste another, not having Jason Tatum. So they had to get rid of money. This is what's happening with this second apron. You got a 5-year window. You want to spend over it? Okay. After that, it's going to cost you your draft picks. They'll drop down to number 30. I know it's complicated, but I think what they're trying to do is maybe collude to let's keep these salaries under a certain umbrella. Let's not get crazy with all of this. Look at the Celtics. I mean, those two contracts with Brown and Tatum, you got $500 million there. Tatum probably won't play next year. They may look at trade Jaylen Brown. Like all these things that you go, no, they can't do that. Just the fact that the Nuggets would even hint at that. And none of these reporters go, hey, if things go bad, are you going to trade Joker? It wasn't one of those. But boy, if he came on this show and said, kind of a doomsday situation, we might consider trading 15. Oh, man. Here we go. Hold on. I got some questions for you. Yeah, Marvin.
If you're another NBA team, do you just call, hey?
Sure.
Put out a feeler.
Look at what the Lakers pulled off with Luka. You never know. You never know. Like Boston. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, you are a nondescript franchise. You got 5 first-round picks. I would be calling the Celtics and saying, what about? What about? If the Celtics are kind of in a rebuild/reload, then I would try to, I'd try it. I'd knock on the door at least. And I think some teams have probably called the Celtics about Jaylen Brown. Shams has mentioned that teams are kind of, kicking this around. I don't know. Some interesting times with the NBA. Does Giannis get traded? Maybe not this year. You start to look at the injuries. Durant didn't have a lot of suitors. Ends up going to Houston. Phoenix is a mess. So you start to look at all of this. 76ers, that's talk about a mess. The Pacers, what do you do without Tyrese Halliburton? There's a lot going on here. And I think that's the interesting part leading into the draft. It might not be the draft, but there are a lot of storylines here. And I did not think we'd be talking about the Nuggets and Joker and any remote possibility. That's where you go to a press conference and you go, we would never, ever trade him. Never. Now, that doesn't mean ownership doesn't walk back sometimes what they say, but that's where you say, hey, we have the best player in the sport. We got to build around him better. We have to do a better job. That felt like it's, hey, we might be screwing up a little bit here, but you have to help us if you want some depth. That's what I read into that. Until otherwise, noted, that's what I'm going to take away from that. It felt like nobody prompted you, and you were telling about transparency, which is nice, but that felt like there was a little more attached to it than, a slip of the, you guys are running with that. Stop, you conspiracy theorist, you. All right, just getting started.
I like when you're fired up.
Yeah.
Well,
It's an interesting comment because you don't want to call them unaware, but if it's on purpose, then it's even scarier.
you go into those press conferences, you know what you're going to be talking about. You can't be surprised, right? You can't be surprised. I don't think there was any thought with any member of the media going, man, wait till you hear this question. Wait till I ask him about Joker. And all of a sudden, I went, wait. And I said to Marvin, give me the context of that. He said, there wasn't, I mean, it was just that. He brought it up unprovoked. I go, like to thank the Nuggets, though, for giving me a little content today.